18 matches, 1 week, one devastating statement. Carlos Alcaraz just crushed Queen's Club while tennis wages multiple wars behind the scenes. In 7 days, Wimbledon eliminates 147 years of tradition. Jannik Sinner faces his greatest psychological crisis, and the sport's loudest controversy reaches breaking point. This isn't just about tennis anymore. This is about power, technology, and who controls the future of the game.
What we're witnessing is unprecedented in modern tennis. Alcaraz's Queen's victory isn't just about grass court preparation, it's psychological warfare. While he extends an 18-match winning streak 1 week before Wimbledon, Sinner hasn't played since losing 3 championship points at Roland-Garros. The mental gap is becoming a chasm.
This Queen's triumph comes at the perfect moment. Wimbledon 2025 will be the first time in 147 years without human line judges completely A-controlled. Alcaraz dominates the final warm-up tournament before tennis's most traditional event becomes its most revolutionary. That's not coincidence, that's destiny.
Today we're exposing the multiple wars reshaping tennis as Wimbledon 2025 approaches. From Alcaraz's psychological dominance to AI replacing tradition, from grunting controversies to brutal coaching advice, everything converges in one explosive week. This is the story behind the story of tennis's perfect storm. Let's start with the breaking news that changes everything. Yesterday, Carlos Alcaraz defeated Jiří Lehecka 7-5, 6-7, 6-2 at Queen's Club, his 18th consecutive victory, his second Queen's title. His perfect preparation for defending Wimbledon. But here's what makes this terrifying for his rivals. Alcaraz called this just preparation. He dominated a grass court final while barely trying.
The numbers tell a devastating story. Alcaraz is 26-1 since Miami, reaching 5 consecutive finals. Meanwhile, Sinner's psychological state after Roland-Garros is critical. He had 3 championship points against this same opponent and lost. Now he watches Alcaraz collect trophies while he hasn't played a match. That's mental torture.
But the Queen's victory exposes something deeper. Alcaraz has solved his one weakness. Lehecka beat him in Doha earlier this year using power and precision. Yesterday, Alcaraz dismantled that same game plan effortlessly. He's not just winning, he's evolving in real time.
Cold bemore precise inte drop shots, an sometimes eis abiti nauri. I tinkte spaniadis mentaglia litle superior inte decisive moments, wille te Italianis better at imposing a very ig passe without making mistake. But when it's the key moment, between TTW of them, maybe Carlos is a little superior.
Those aren't just observations, that's a legendary coach identifying Sinner's fatal flaws, in a hurry and mentally inferior in decisive moments. After Roland-Garros, those words cut deeper than any defeat. Sinner now knows exactly what everyone thinks of his mental game.
While this psychological warfare intensifies, tennis faces its biggest technological revolution ever. Wimbledon 2025 eliminates all 327 line judges across 18 courts. AI makes every call, no human judgment, no arguments, no tradition. After 147 years, it's over in 1 week.
Timing is perfect for Alcaraz. He masters grass courts just as tennis's most traditional tournament becomes its most modern. Meanwhile, players like Sabalenka face a different war, the battle over sound itself.
I've been watching tennis for 30 years and this grunting epidemic is destroying everything beautiful about the sport. Sabalenka hits 90 decibels, that's lawn-mower level. How can you hear the strategy, the ball contact, the actual tennis when players are literally screaming? Thank God for electronic line calling because at least the computers won't be deafened.
The grunting controversy reveals deeper power struggles in tennis. Sabalenka grunts on 100% of serves and 95% of shots. Studies prove this masks ball contact sounds and reduces opponent reaction time. It's strategic, it's effective, and it's dividing the sport. Some call it cheating, others call it evolution.
Meanwhile, the pressure on Sinner builds through brutal public analysis. Toni Nadal didn't just identify weaknesses, he suggested what Sinner's team should have screamed during his Roland-Garros collapse. Calm down. When a legendary coach publicly dissects your mental breakdown, that's not analysis, that's assassination.
The convergence is unprecedented. Alcaraz peaks while Sinner struggles. AI replaces tradition while grunting reaches crisis levels. Electronic calling eliminates human error while human psychology becomes more important than ever. Everything happens at Wimbledon 2025.
John McEnroe made the most explosive claim yet. Both Alcaraz and Sinner could beat prime Rafael Nadal. That's not hyperbole about young talent. That's a tennis legend saying the sport has evolved beyond its greatest champions. But if that's true, why is Alcaraz dominating Sinner so completely?
Mental superiority compounds physically. Alcaraz's Queen's victory showcased perfect grass court technique, 81% first serve points won, 42 aces, 143 winners to 97 errors. But more importantly, he controlled every decisive moment. That's exactly what Toni Nadal says Sinner cannot do.
Final war involves tennis's identity itself. Wimbledon's AI revolution represents progress versus tradition, Grunting bands represent purity versus power. Alcaraz versus Sinner represents new dominance versus emerging challenge. These aren't separate controversies, they're connected battles for tennis's soul.
Wimbledon 2025 becomes the ultimate test. Can Sinner handle the pressure of facing an 18-match win streak? Can traditional tennis survive AI officiating? Can anyone stop Alcaraz when he's this mentally dominant? The answers define tennis's next decade.
Here's the brutal truth: tennis wars always have casualties. Line judges lose their jobs, quiet players lose to loud ones, mentally fragile champions lose to mentally superior ones. Alcaraz's Queen's triumph 1 week before revolutionary Wimbledon isn't coincidence, it's conquest.
What we're witnessing is a perfect storm of transformation. Alcaraz represents tennis's future mentally stronger, technically evolved, strategically superior. The timing of his peak coinciding with Wimbledon's technological revolution and Sinner's psychological crisis creates an unrepeatable moment in sports history.
Dr. Rodriguez, Marcus, thank you for exposing tennis's hidden wars. We've seen how Alcaraz's Queen's conquest positions him perfectly for Wimbledon's revolutionary moment. From 18-match win streaks to AI line calling, from psychological warfare to grunting controversies, everything converges in one explosive week. This isn't just about defending a Wimbledon title anymore. This episode was brought to you by Unstruct AI, where we expose the human cost of sports' hidden wars. Today we've revealed how tennis's perfect storm creates unprecedented stakes for Wimbledon 2025. When Alcaraz lifted the Queen's Club trophy yesterday, he wasn't just winning a warm-up tournament, he was declaring dominance over a sport in revolution. Sinner faces mental pressure, Wimbledon faces technological transformation, and tennis faces questions about its identity. The wars we've exposed: psychological, technological, sonic. Traditional, all climax at the most important Wimbledon in decades. Sometimes the most significant victories happen before the biggest battles begin. When revolution meets tradition, when psychology meets technology, and dominance meets desperation, that's when sports transcend competition and become cultural moments. Wimbledon 2025 isn't just a tennis tournament anymore. It's the battlefield where tennis's future will be decided. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want journalism that reveals the wars behind the wins. The revolution starts in 1 week.